So, on today's episode of Dating After a Toxic Relationship, I want to talk about something that I think I've talked about before, but has been like a little bit more like in my life lately because of some of my clients, like what they're going through, and then people that I talk to, that sort of thing. I want to talk about the dreaded being alone. It seems like if you're single or thinking about being single, the word alone should be used in the same way we're supposed to say gingivitis. Like it's this big scary thing. Like being alone is like so scary. What's gonna happen? Like 5 minutes after I'm alone, am I gonna vanish into thin air? Am I gonna become a murder mystery? Am I gonna choke on a piece of steak and die by myself? Like what's gonna happen if I'm alone, and at what point do I have to go out and buy a herd of cats so everyone knows that I'm alone? But the good news is being alone is going to be the best gift you ever give yourself. Being alone is the most precious time in your life. Being alone is where you figure out who you are, you figure out who you're not. You heal from things that you have been through. You go through life on your own, where you're able to make decisions. You're able to pick this or that. You're able to figure out what you really like versus what you don't like. I remember after my divorce, I took a year off from football because I wasn't sure if I liked it or if I liked it because he liked it. I liked it. So in the years that I was by myself, in the years that I was single, in the years that I was alone, I figured out a lot of stuff about myself. I learned so much about myself. But the big thing about this is if you're in that situation right now where you're debating about leaving someone who you know is not good for you, whether they're toxic, whether they're abusive, or whether they just may not be a very good fit, but you're looking at this person and you're making excuses for them, and you're like, well, he's only like this because of the stuff he's been through. He's only like this because of this. He's only like this because of this. If you're doing those things, he is not the right one, or she is not the right one for you. Being alone is not that scary. What's scary is being on a ship, a toxic ship, and bringing your entire family down with you. Your kids, okay? Your kids are gonna go down on this toxic relationship with you. Your family, your friends, yourself. So the person that you're so afraid to walk away from doesn't give two shits about you. Sorry, they don't. Because if they did, they wouldn't be treating you this way. So you're choosing to do something voluntarily because you're afraid to be alone, because you're afraid to start over. But did you ever really start if you're choosing to stay with somebody who's abusive or toxic or just not a good fit? There has to come a time in your life where you learn to choose yourself over a relationship that is keeping you up at night, that is making you overthink, that is driving you absolutely insane, where one day he's the most amazing person, and the next 2 or 3 days you don't know who the hell you're talking to, if you're even talking to him or her at all, because we all know how they like to go dark for a little bit while they go do their toxic things, toxic conferences, I suppose, where they all get together and learn how to just continue being jerks. But this is something that you're choosing. You're choosing to stay in something that you know is not good for you. You know it's not good. You know it's not healthy. You know it's not going to go anywhere. You know he's never going to choose you. He's only going to choose himself. If you decide tomorrow to let this person go, I think a big fear that a lot of people have is that he's going to go find, Betty. And Betty's going to be the game changer. Betty's going to be the one who changes him. And now he's romantic and he's suddenly kind and he's not abusive anymore. And he's just so good to Betty. No, dude, Betty's going to get it too. But Betty's going to get it a lot worse than you are. So that's the thing, is we can let go of these people knowing that they will never change. But the thing that we don't ever focus on is ourselves. We focus on, what if he does this? Who gives a shit what he does? He's treating you like crap. So we have to focus on you and how you are going to get through this. You should be saying, instead of what if he treats her better, you should be saying, what if this gets worse? What if he starts hitting me? What if he starts cheating on me? What if all of a sudden I wake up one day and I have an STD. He's going to lie and say you were the one cheating. And then you're going to be in an argument with the person who will never admit what he did. But here you are with an STD. Yeah, really? Let this guy go. Let him give the gift that keeps on giving to other women. Don't stick around for a guy to do these things to you, because I think at some point when you're in these toxic relationships, you have these levels. Like, if he does this, I'm done. But then he gets there, and then you're like, well, he only did this because, And then the next one is like, well, if he does this, I'm definitely done. He's here, he's here, he's here, you see? And then you're under. You're the one drowning, and he's the one rising to the top because you are teaching him how to treat you. Now, don't think I'm saying this like people willingly go into toxic relationships, because they don't. None of us do. I didn't. You didn't. None of us willingly went into this. We went into a relationship thinking this person was going to be A-okay. We went into this relationship thinking, wow, this is a great fit. He has all these things in common with me. He's this, he's that. This seems great. We're laughing. We're having fun. But then slowly over time, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're Googling all these, like, he's doing this and he's doing that. And then it pops up, either narcissistic or bipolar or whatever it is. And you're like, oh my God, is this what this person's doing? If you're Googling, if you're thinking, if you're reaching out to someone to say, hey, this doesn't seem right, things are not right. So now, once you know, and if it's early on and you figure this out, you have the ability to get out before it's too late. But what happens to a lot of us is, one more chance. He's only like this because. He's only doing this because. She only said that because. These are the reasons why. Well, the parents didn't do this, or the siblings are doing this, or their job is being mean to them, so they take it out on me, and it's fine. It's fine because I'm strong. I'm strong. I can handle it. I'm going to show everyone how strong and tough I am by sticking with this guy. Yeah, he cheated on me, but it's only because of this. But look how strong I am. I'm sticking by his side. No. If you're married, that's a whole different thing. But if you're dating someone and he's treating you or she's treating you poorly, and they started cheating on you and they started showing these signs, think about leaving, because this will only get worse. I've never in my life have ever heard someone say to me, yeah, I was like dating this guy, and he was like cheating on me and hitting me, but then something happened. My hope worked. The fairies came, and now he's perfect. And thank God I held out. If I didn't hold out, someone else would have got this guy. Yeah, 0% of the time is that going to happen. 0% of the time. So we have to learn that when we start seeing these signs, that when we start feeling this way, when we are up at night trying to figure out where they are, where you're trying to find clues on social media about where they might be or who they might be with, calling random places, is this so-and-so there, blah, 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 or even worse, getting in your car and trying to find this fool like it's your job. It's not your job. So before things start to take a turn, before things start to go sideways, before things start to go south, if you're seeing any of these signs, if you're feeling this way, if your friends are telling you things, if family's telling you these things, if you are feeling these things, you need to listen to yourself and figure out how to get out of this before it gets too late. Do not let this person drag you down. If you've been in it for a while, some people were in it for years. I was in it for 157 years. And at one point, I remember thinking to myself, well, this is my life. I'm going to be up all night, taking 3 or 4 sleeping pills, trying to get some sleep because I have to go to work the next day. And then he stopped working. My system was like, yeah, no, we're staying up all night. We're going to worry about this person. I remember being up, calling the jail, calling hospitals, trying to figure out where is this person, because he would disappear for a very long time and then come back like nothing happened, just walking through the door and just being like, hey, what's up? And I was just like, oh, I don't want him to treat anyone else better and blah, 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 and holding on and like, oh, he had all these reasons why he's like this. It took me a long time to finally realize that he's like that just because that's who he is. It wasn't his parents that did it to him. It wasn't anyone else that did it to him. It's just who he is as a human. And I sleep much better now knowing that he's no longer doing this to me. Where now I am happy, I am healthy, I am succeeding at life. I'm sleeping through the night. The last time I sat up wondering about a man was with him, and I will never do that again. If I am with somebody and I ever have to sit up all night wondering where they are or why such and such is happening, I'm going to walk away from that man, because I do not deserve that. You do not deserve to lose sleep over a dude or a chick. If a chick isn't calling and if she isn't coming home, there's something going on with that chick. Like, the reality, like, the thing of it is, like, we have to learn to listen to our guts. A lot of times we're just like, well, I've been through so much, I don't think my gut is working, I think it's broken. It's not broken, you just don't like what it's telling you. So you have to realize these things, but at the same time, it's going to come in your time, not my time, not his time, not anyone else's time except for yours. When you are ready to walk away and let go of this person, then you will. Sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 7 years, sometimes it's 3 kids later, where you figure, sometimes you figure, well, if we have a baby, it'll be different, he'll stay. No, he's not going to stay for the baby. He's not going to stay because as a kid, he's going to leave you home alone while you're pregnant, and he's going to go out and do the stuff that he's doing, whether you have a baby or not. That stuff's not going to change him. And if you marry him or her, that's not going to change them. Just because their title changes doesn't mean they change. If they didn't come home at night when you were engaged, he's not going to come home at night when you're married. It's, in a sense, better to have a boyfriend cheat on you than a husband. So you've got to look at the stuff the boyfriend's doing or the girlfriend's doing and think, like, my wife or my husband would be doing this. My rule is, if I'm with someone and they cheat on me and we're, like, you know, just like together, that I'm not going to make that person my husband. No, you don't marry the person that, like, cheats on you. Every situation is different. Every situation is completely different. So, you know, you might have something and someone else might have something else, and whatever, it works. But I'm talking about these toxic, abusive people who will convince you that they will change if you get married and all this stuff. But they don't change. They don't change unless they go through recovery, unless they go through therapy, unless they absolutely do things. And if you're with someone and they're like, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to get healthy, blah, 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 just stick with me. No, because I know from my own experience, when I was in recovery for what I needed to recover from, narcissism, codependency, anger, all this stuff, I couldn't date. I couldn't date and like rip my skin off at the same time, because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure if you show up to someone's house, they're not going to want to invite in a skeleton with just like muscle and blood and stuff hanging out. No, a person wants you whole, with skin and all. That's how that goes. So sometimes a lot of times you're not ready to date until you've gone through it, until you are getting more and more healthy, because the beginning of recovery is exhausting. It kicks your ass. It isn't fun, and you need time to spill all over the floor and just kind of be who you need to be, and you don't want to do that in front of someone. Of course, it's different if you're married and you feel like you need to go through this. Obviously, that's different. I'm not saying you can't, it's impossible, because it's not impossible, but if you go into recovery single, it's probably a better idea to stay single while you're going through it, and don't let that word single put you down, because even if you're married, you're still a single person. We're all still single people. So you're just like one entity. So I didn't date when I was going through recovery, because how do you do that? Like, how do you like, oh, what do you do for fun? Oh, I hit meetings 3 times a week and talk about my codependency. What about you? It doesn't go over very well. And you're not in a frame of mind to go out and like have fun when you're realizing your mom didn't love you and you were abusive to your ex-husband because of the stuff she taught you. Like, what are you going to do? Open conversation like that? Like, hey man, yeah, I used to like abuse my ex-husband, but it's cool now because I'm getting help. Yeah, no one's going to stay for that. No one. So it's better to heal, go through some stuff, get your stuff figured out. After you do that, spend some time on your own, being single, having fun, like going out with your friends, going to do things even by yourself, figuring out what you like, what you don't like, that sort of thing, like what your boundaries are. Now that you've been through something toxic, now that you've been through something abusive, now that you've been through all that stuff, now it's time for you to take some time on your own to figure out who you are, to figure out your boundaries. What are you going to put up with and what are you not going to put up with? That's like the biggest thing. And learning how to express that without meeting someone for the first time and sitting across from them and being like, these are the things I won't put up with. No. So you have to learn how to live after recovery, or like when you're at a really good, healthy spot. You have to learn how to do that, how to handle yourself, when to say things, when not to say things, how how to say things is like the biggest thing, because you could be saying something in one way and they're going to take it in a completely different way, because you have to remember when you start dating the person sitting across from you, it's very unlikely that they've been through a recovery program or a toxic relationship or anything like that. So they're not going to understand much of it. So you get to know someone slowly, not like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, let's get married. By the way, this is what happened to me. So you take your time, you get to know them. You get to learn how to trust them, because trusting after a toxic relationship is really difficult. Very difficult, because you may hear the person that you're with use the same verbiage that your ex did and it sets you off. You may see them doing something super innocent, but your ex did it and it led to X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be like, uh-oh, wait, what? So there are a lot of things. And then you have to figure out how to communicate that to the new person that you're with. I didn't really like what you were doing, and these are the reasons why. But you have to figure out how to say it without punishing the new person for what the previous person did. So there's a way in which you can say things. There's a way you can talk to people to help them to understand a little bit more. But the one thing I've learned in my own experience is you can't do it all in one night. It has to be over time, slowly. Like for me, I had a conversation recently with person I'm dating, and I've been wanting to have this conversation with him for a very long time, and it's taken me a good year to have it, because I wasn't ready. There wasn't a good time, and I wasn't sure of how I was going to say it. So I took the time I needed, and I said exactly what I needed to say, and it came out, I feel, in a really good, healthy way, not in a negative, bad, attacking way. So learning how to speak to someone, to tell them or share with them the stuff that you've been through and why some things that they may do might trigger you. And that's okay. And if they react and they're like, if you're getting triggered, that's your problem, blah, 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 they might not be the right person for you. So you got to be very aware of how people react and how people say things to you and what they say and how they say it back to you. So if someone's writing off how you feel, probably not the best person for you. But then you got to be brave enough to walk away, because you do deserve better. So it's in that space between no longer and not yet, my favorite space, where you learn what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept, how to talk to people, how to receive things that people say, and how to love yourself like this much more than you love someone else. If you love yourself just this much more than you love the person that you're with, then you're always going to protect yourself, because you always have to protect yourself. You always have to put yourself first. So if someone's pushing you away, or if someone's doing things that you don't like, that you're not comfortable with, if you love yourself a little tiny bit more, you're going to be able to be strong enough to walk away and say, I don't really deserve this. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for my mental health. Because we have to find someone that's good for our mental health. If they're not good for our mental health, then what good are they? Because if you're in your head all the time and you're upset all the time, and you're either overthinking, or you're wondering where they are, or you're like chasing them down, what's going on, and that's not good for you. And if you have kids, your kids are going to pick up on that. They're going to see these things, and they're going to start picking up these unhealthy habits. I don't care how old they are. I don't care if your kid is 1. I don't care if your kid is 6 months old. You need to start breaking these habits, because now you have little guys watching you and paying attention to what you're doing and what you're saying, and they're paying attention to how this other person's treating you. So if this other person is being passive aggressive and being kind of a jerk to you, they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to be like, I hate this guy. Or they're going to be like, this is okay behavior, and then they're going to go on to either do that to someone or accept that from someone. So if you're in something toxic, or if you're feeling like something is toxic right now and you have kids, think about how you would feel if someone were treating your kids the way this guy or this girl is treating you. And how do you feel about that? How would you react to that? And then why are you letting them treat you that way? Because not only are you obviously who you are, but you are someone's mom. Like, I think about my kids and the stuff that they saw. My kids saw me go through stuff, yes, but my kids saw me go through stuff as their mom. Like, we don't want bad stuff to happen to moms. Moms are great. Not mine, but most moms are great. So, like, we want to protect our moms. We love our moms. We cherish them. They did so much for us. And then now we have some dirtbag coming into their life and treating them like absolute crap and garbage and making them cry and leaving bruises on their body and telling them that they're no good. How do you think your kids are going to react to that? Not very well. They do not like that stuff, especially like, I don't have girls, I have 3 boys, And I know, like, it's tough racket because the older they get, the less they're going to like someone that comes in because they don't want to see their mom hurt again. They don't want to see that. I have one kid that would rather me just kind of be on my own than ever get hurt again. And I understand where he's coming from, but I don't want to be alone forever. So, but I understand that his mom was hurt. That's his mom. And he really likes me, like, a lot. So it's hard for kids to see their parents go through this stuff. Daughters do not want to see their dads get hurt. No, they don't want to see that. No. Boys can be super protective, but those daughters are no joke. So if you're a toxic woman and you're being abusive to a girl's dad, she's going to cut you in the middle of the night. Yeah, she probably is. And that's your warning. So girls do not like to see it. Kids do not like to see their parents hurt. They just don't. And sometimes as the parents, we find it hard to see things through their eyes because we probably haven't really seen that. So it's hard for us to understand how upset kids can get when their parents are hurt. So we tend to like put our like blinders on and not see anything but our own needs, our own selfish needs. Like, but this guy is so good, he makes me feel this way. Or this girl's so pretty and she makes me feel this way. Yeah, but what are your kids seeing? We need to protect them too. So anyway, being alone isn't horrible. Your kids are going to love seeing you on your own. They're going to be so happy. They're going to love it. They're going to love the new version of you. They're going to see you fall apart, absolutely, which they should. But then they're going to see the rise. They're going to see you stand up and get strong. And then they're going to see you with somebody eventually that loves you. Yep, you will. They definitely will. They're going to see that and they're going to be so happy. And that guy or that girl that comes in that actually loves you, those kids are going to like him or her. And they're going to treat them with respect. And they're going to ask about them. And they're going to want to see them more. And they're going to want to invite them to different things. So they want to see you with someone that's going to add to your happiness. But in order to get to your happiness, you have to be alone after these toxic relationships so you can heal. So you can figure out who you are. So you can figure out who you want in your life. So you can repair the relationships that were damaged while you were with that previous toxic person. Especially the relationship with your kids. I took a long time to repair that relationship with them. And now I have. And there's nothing that's going to ever have me ruin that relationship again. I'm never going to allow my kids to see me hurt like that ever again. There won't be anyone that comes in and says anything mean to me while I'm alone with them, never, let alone like in front of my kids, because it's just not going to fly. So I've put them through enough. So now it's time for me to make good choices, not only for me, but also for them, no matter how old they get. Because they're always going to want to see you happy. They're always, and they're going to know you very well. So even if they don't live with you and they call you and blah, 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 they're going to know something's up because they know you, because they're paying attention. Because now that our kids have seen us go through these toxic relationships, they're on high alert. And they will always be on high alert. So we have to think about what we're doing to our kids while we're in these relationships. And we have to give up certain things for our kids. There was this commercial a few years back where it was like, would you run into a burning building for a kid? Yeah, of course you would. Would you go into like a bear den or whatever to get your kid out? Yeah, of course you would. Would you, save a kid from like a shock? Yeah, of course you would. Would you drive a minivan for your kid? I wouldn't. My kids don't need that. So I was like, yeah, that's a hard pass. But would I get out of a toxic relationship and leave somebody behind for my kids? Yeah. Still won't drive a minivan, but I will do that. And that's really freaking hard to get out of something like that. So it was hard wake up call, essentially losing my kids because of some guy. So anyway, being alone is not that bad. So if you're thinking about leaving a relationship, if you've already left a relationship, stay out of that thing. Stay out of it. It's not good. It's not healthy. Stay away from it. It's not good for you. Might look good, but it's not good for you. Might feel good sometimes, but it's definitely not good for you. Being alone is not that bad. Trust me, I know. I had a great time being alone. And sometimes I still do have a great time being alone. Being alone is really fun. It's where I recharge, figure some stuff out, do a lot of thinking, and continue to be my own person. Because that's a big thing when you're in a relationship with somebody is you have to learn how to continue being who you are, not losing pieces of you, which of course we all lose a little bit, but the big bulk you want to be able to keep yourself. So I think being alone was great. I think single was being great. And now it's, that's changing for me where it's changing for me where I'm not alone as much as I used to be. Now I'm kind of sharing a lot of my life with someone else, and I'm loving that because it's a good person, because he's not draining, because he's not suffocating, because he's not, I mean, he can be a huge pain in the ass, yeah, but he's not doing any of those horrible toxic things that I had done to me before. So it's good. It's like it's like you're in that space between no longer and not yet, and here's your not yet, and you're coming out and you're like right here. So I'm like right here, and it's a really great, happy, healthy place to be, where it's like something is going to happen with this, but it hasn't happened fully yet. So I'm still able to enjoy some parts before it goes into full on. So it's a transition, if you will. It's taking a little bit of time, which is perfect, but it's a transition. And I'm transitioning in a sense, and it's such a good place to be. But I wouldn't be able to be in this place if I didn't take as much time as I did to be single and to be on my own. So anyway, try being on your own. It's not going to kill you. You're not going to combust. You don't have to buy cats, and you're probably not going to choke on anything. So, I don't know. Try it. Let me know what you think.